And Kuesa's on the turntable.
Yes. Actually, I was thinking about that this morning. I'm like, okay, who's Run, who's DMC? And we know the Quasa was Jam Master Jay. But I was actually literally thinking about that when the music was playing today.
Yeah, well, you're the tallest, so you have to be DMC.
I guess that would be the case. Well, my first initial is actually D, so I could do
There
that.
you go, right? There's like a real difference between the two of them there, like us. So, listen, folks, this is again the Power Hour, and right now we are up live on Facebook, and I'm going to hit the share button, and I invite you to do the same. Let's see. All right, there it is. It is now shared on my public page. But again, go to WURDradio.com or WURD on Facebook or YouTube. Check us out live. You can also hear us at 900 AM, 96.1 FM. Go to the App Store and again, look for WURD. We pronounce it Word. And you can find us there. You can join folk like Franny. Oh, wow. As my mother would say, we're chopping in high cotton. The
Oh, yeah.
sheriff of Philadelphia is listening. Sheriff of
Oh,
Nottingham.
morning,
Sheriff
Sheriff.
Bilal. Good morning. Shirley, Larry, Rob from Super Soaky, Florida.
Oh, geez.
Yep, Raphael is in and others as well. If you're in there and I didn't call your name, just put a little something in the chat so we can see. Oh boy, so much to talk about. Let me just say this one thing, is my voice is a lot better today.
It
Not
does. It does. It
100%.
sounds. It does sound a lot better. I have to really tell you that. Yesterday, you were really scratchy.
Man, I mean, it was just terrible, but it's global warming.
Global warming.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought it was all you were running around the last few days. It just took its
No,
toll on your voice.
no, I was actually kind of like conserving my voice, you know. People were asking me to speak at different places. I was like, yo, if it's a bullhorn, mic where I got to stretch my voice, I'm good. Folk know what I think already. So, hey, Calinthia, glad to see you as well. But no, I just, because I didn't want to like push it, but I discovered it's global warming
Okay.
because since everything is off centered, I mean, it hit me yesterday as I'm like avoiding getting stung by a bee in November. And I'm starting to think like, why is there a bee in
Absolutely.
November out here doing his work? I'm like, bruh, you're supposed to be like sleep somewhere in a hive.
Hmm.
But the weather is so crazy because, again, in part, elected officials don't take it serious. Good riddance, by the way, of those who don't believe in things like the Paris Accord. Maybe we can get back to trying to be more responsible stewards of the earth. But because of global warming and because it's warmer and bees are out pollinating, those of us who have allergies are suffering at times where we don't normally suffer.
Right.
So I don't normally have this problem this time of year. It's normally in the spring. I know
Yeah.
the signs, symptoms, and I take the right medicine. I'm like, why would I need allergy medicine in November?
Right.
It's November.
I understand that. I have the same problem. Every year, I start hacking this time of year. I'm coughing slightly. And what's kind of funny about the whole thing is like, now because of COVID, like you're afraid to cough because people will look at you like you're crazy. So, I get a cough, I get a little itch in my throat, something like that. And, you just kind of try to choke it back down, especially when you're in public, so people don't see you doing it.
Right. So I'm telling you, so we got to get this planet right. Uh,
Right.
and Rob, no, this is not a military shirt. He's like, what's up with the military shirt, Rev? It's, I don't know where my wife found it, but trust me, unless the military's like making purple shirts now, then, then I guess it's a military shirt. Hoboken Mendez, buenos dias to you, my friend. Karen, glad to see you and everyone else this morning as well. So let's get into it. A lot to cover. Let's do kind of the opposite this time. There's a great local story that happened that has some Trump administration implications because on let's see, was it 2 weeks ago? About 2 weeks ago, a local activist, Ant Smith, as he goes by, part of the Real Coalition for Justice out of Philly. Um, they go hard. I mean, Philly Real Coalition goes real hard at electeds. And Ant was arrested with two others on charges of burning a police car.
Hmm.
He was not arrested by Philly PD. It was not a district attorney's charge. It was a federal government U.S. Attorney William McSwain, who is Trump personified,
Right.
as a lawyer,
Hmm.
as a U.S. attorney. And this young man, who is a social studies teacher from middle school, I can only imagine how traumatized his students were because I know they love him, was arrested in his home at the end of October and told that he was facing a 7-year minimum sentence if convicted.
Hmm.
After hearing arguments, the judge on Friday was prepared to release him. An emergency filing came through by the U.S. Attorney's Office. They kept him over the weekend, which is jacked up, so he missed the whole celebration out of the streets, but yesterday was set free. Now, here is the worst part. I hadn't seen what the evidence was that they had on him,
Hmm.
but they say and they acknowledge they never saw him burn the car, set the car on fire.
Right.
They have pictures of him tossing pieces of paper into an already burning police car.
Picture. Okay, wait a minute. So
They have video of him. I'm sorry,
they've
video of him.
accused him of burning a police car, but the only evidence they have is pictures of him putting paper into an already burning police car.
Yes.
Okay, so and that constitutes evidence to say that he burned the car?
They were trying to say, look, I mean, this is Trump. This is Trump's America, right? At least for the next 72 days. And so in Trump's America, remember, the, all right. So Mark Meadows is out. No, Mark Esper is out as the defense
Yeah, yeah,
acting defense,
yeah.
secretary. One of the reasons he left is he differed with the administration on things like this. He was
Right.
pissed about the fact that Trump used the military and police to push protesters out of the way. He vehemently disagreed with the idea of using the military on protesters nationwide and invoking the Insurrection Act for doing stuff like you and I do, like we call that Tuesday.
Yeah.
What protest are we going to today, right? And so, in Trump's mind, we are insurrectionists because we choose to use the freedom of speech that we have as a birthright in this country to speak up against things we don't agree with. In his world, you do not dissent, and so it does not surprise me then that his Department of Justice would take something as flimsy as a young man throwing a piece of paper into an already burning police car and say that is worth a 7-year minimum sentence. And this by their own admission, by the way. It's in the Inquirer today. Their attorneys from the U.S. Attorney's Office says, no, we acknowledge we didn't see him start the fire, but we did see him throw stuff in it. And so he put, quote unquote, fuel on the fire.
Wow. This is the problem with our country right now. And by the way, the other reason that he fired the defense secretary was that when the defense secretary was questioned about whether he would have the military be used to enforce the election results or to stand until new election results, and he said no about that. They asked him about this a long time ago, and both he and the chairman of the Joint Chiefs both said that they would not use the military to enforce the election law, and that that's not what their purpose and the reason for being is. So that was the other piece of that. But I'm glad And is out. I remember hearing about the story. People had approached us about that and wanted to know where we stood on that. And I think it's certainly tragic that this happened. But I think that this is, unfortunately, now because of the way the court system is set up, and until Trump gets out, this is something we got to watch out for a while.
Well, the hope is that within well, first of all, we know he's not going to get tried and convicted in 72 days. That's not going to happen. Courts, his attorney can just keep appealing. He has an ankle bracelet, I think, or a monitor. He's on home arrest and with some limitation, limited ability to travel, which is also, terrible. That should be dropped. But, you get a new administration, new
Attorney General.
yeah, and you're going to get new attorney. Look, I don't see McSwain staying in Philadelphia at all. Not in that role. Now he might run against Larry Krasner as DA. I've heard that rumored before, so I'm not sure if he lives in Philly or not. But that would be a true, I think that'd be a mistake on his part. But it's to each his own. Arun says on Facebook Live about this conversation. He said in his world, talking about Trump, the nation's founders would have been jailed.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, Trump would have been King George.
Absolutely. He is King Donald the first.
Wow.
I mean,
That's
isn't that the way he's acting?
yeah.
He acts like he's King Donald the first.
And the
I mean,
last.
and I mean, look, and I mean, you know, we've talked about this before about this whole notion of George Orwell, the double speak, right? But I mean, how many people are groaning? Even the national media, all the media, including Fox News, is turning off his people now because they start up with these lies and they immediately switch to something else.
Yeah, how about that yesterday? So that's a great segue because that was literally the second thing that I had written
Oh, really?
down.
Okay, well, that's cool.
Which no, I mean it's perfect because so if you're Donald Trump in your world, who has been your biggest enabler of all? I mean, over the 4 years and the years leading up to that, it has been Fox News.
Yep.
They carried your lies about Obama and the birther conspiracy. They've given you more oxygen than, I mean, the oxygen that, gives life to the wildfires that we've seen on the West Coast. And so there's nobody who has been more supportive of Donald Trump and this insanity. And yet, on yesterday, when his press secretary came out and started back down the road with all of these, it's like, so there's voter fraud everywhere. Where's the evidence, ma'am? Evidence. We don't have to prove that it's true. They need to prove that it's not voter fraud. It's like, I'm sorry, that's not quite how America works. And Fox News turned it off.
Yes.
And Neil Cavuto jumped on and said, look, y'all, all right, seriously, we got to stop this. I'm surprised he didn't take a drink out on the set. It's like he literally cut them off and said, we're not going to keep showing this. It is not true. There is no evidence. And until there's evidence, we will not air this again. Unfortunately, that's not where Mitch McConnell is, right, and other Republicans in the leadership. But if Fox News does that to you, that's a pretty good sign about where we're going.
Yeah, it is. I mean, his administration's in trouble. I got to shout out our friend who sent us some good information yesterday. I got the Antonia Soares Thompson, who is often following us on our shows, called in a couple times, sent me the latest filings by the Trump administration in the federal court going after several local Pennsylvania counties about their vote count. The interesting thing that happened was that all of the counties that he's going after are Democratic strongholds here in the state of Pennsylvania that include Philadelphia, that include all the suburban counties right around Philadelphia, Center County, Dauphin County, Allegheny County, where the counties that he is going after. It's a 122-page indictment. I got the whole indictment. I read the first 22 pages, and the I can't say the word I want to use on the air, was so thick that it was just absolutely incredible. But they're going to file this, and it's got to be followed through in the court system. Unfortunately, like you said, Mitch McConnell and others are saying, well, the president has the right to be able to appeal and follow through with the course of law. I'm trying to do my Mitch McConnell impersonation because he sounds like he's grumbling and groveling the whole time. But the Republicans are starting to line up behind him. I mean, it would be if the Republicans had some dignity and respect. They would be like, like George W. Bush was like, hey, Joe and I have some differences and political differences, but I think he's going to be the guy to lead our country, unify us, and help heal our nation. Like, great move there. That was wonderful to be able to get that. But world leaders are really celebrating the election of our new president. But everybody else is like, come on, man, they're sore losers. And if they really knew what they were doing, they would actually be very careful, because now there's got to be a very tenuous negotiation between the Republicans and the Democrats to be able to get anything done. At this point, Trump is done. Admit it and move on. But I don't know. I guess people are afraid of the next 75 days.
Well, listen, first of all, that Mitch McConnell impersonation was like really good, because I had looked down for a minute and I thought Quace was playing a clip. So, yeah, Yeah, your Mitch McConnell's much better than my Irish accent, which sounds like my Jamaican accent, which sounds like my British accent, which sounds like my German accent. I basically have one terrible accent, and one day it's actually going to sound like something. But one quick note before we go to break. So you're talking about how the world has reacted. So in the Inquirer today, they got a whole section on "Thank You, Philadelphia," from around the country and the world. And I won't read them all, but I just will read this one from the UK. It wasn't until the call that so many here in the UK realized just how much horror we were carrying because of the last 4 years. Many people broke down. I wish I had a British accent. I could read this. It would sound probably much better. Many people broke down and cried like newborn babies. Welcome back. We missed you. Now we need to get rid of our own pompous fool with love and solidarity from the other side of the pond. Gavin King, down in Gloucestershire, England.
All right.
The world is rejoicing with us, and everybody is thanking Philadelphia. We got to take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we'll continue this conversation.
COVID-19 impacted a lot of things this year, including regular vaccination appointments. Vaccines help protect you and everyone around you, especially during flu season. Schedule an appointment with your healthcare provider today to make sure you and your children are vaccinated. Vaccines keep us safe, and they work. Skip the flu this year. Get your vaccination today. Let's stay protected together. For more information, visit health.pa.gov, paid for with Pennsylvania taxpayer dollars.
There's a pressing need to strengthen pathways to better jobs in communities of color. That's why Bank of America is investing $1 billion to advance racial equality and economic opportunity.
I'm Jim Dever, Greater Philadelphia Market President for Bank of America. We've partnered with Coded by Kids to connect people to new skills and employment opportunities. It's just one way we're taking action in Greater Philadelphia right now.
Bank of America N.A., member FDIC, equal credit opportunity lender.
I ain't no better than you, and you ain't no better than me. But we all have something in common. We all are species, seeds of God's creation.
Tune in to Messages in the Music every Friday night with Joey T, midnight to 6 a.m. right here on WURD.
Monday through Thursday, keep it locked to WURD Radio. At 6 a.m., start your day with the Power Hour, hosted by Bishop Dwayne Royster and Reverend Mark Kelly Tyler. At 7, it's Wake Up with WURD with Solomon Jones. At 10 a.m., it's Reality Check with Charles Ellison. Then at 1 p.m., it's The Source, hosted by Andrea Lawful Sanders on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays, and the Black Women's Leadership Council on Wednesdays. At 4 p.m., it's Evening Words with Nick Taliaferro. Then at 7, it's Save Space with Sincerely Sarita. At 9 p.m., round up your day with Keeping It Real with the Reverend Al Sharpton. Keep your dial locked to WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD. Streaming live on WURDradio.com and the WURD Radio app. Or watch live on WURD TV via Facebook and YouTube. WURD Radio. Independent Black Media. Now, a traffic update on WURD Radio.
Good morning, not too bad as we move on this morning here in Philadelphia. Just mutual volume beginning to pick up southbound 95 Cotman through Bridge. Again, Allegheny through Girard Lake, northbound side not bad. Westbound Vine Parkway through the Schuylkill Expressway still in pretty good shape. Schuylkill Westbound University through South, delays through the construction zone. Eastbound side not bad yet. PA Turnpike, Blue Route 476 still in pretty good shape. In New Jersey, 55 northbound picks up a bit between Deptford and 42 now. For more traffic information, log on to sigalert.com. I'm Jim Bachman with your Philadelphia area traffic.
You're listening to WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD, independent black media.
Welcome back to the Power Hour with Dwayne David Royster and Mark Kelly Tyler. It is good to be here with you today, and actually Reverend Tyler has his voice back. So we are very good and glad to be able to do this.
Yeah, thanks to everybody for your prayers on yesterday. They're sending me all kind of recipes, and I'm like, it's allergies. See, my grandmama told me go out and get a root and a herb out the back. Then put it and mix it up with a switch. steam it, put it on your chest with a candle burning, but it has to only be a half candle. And then your voice will come back. I'm like, it's an allergy.
Yeah.
It's called Sudafed, Zyrtec, something of that nature.
So I got this thing, so I want to, continue picking up on where we were. So there's a problem in the federal government right now because there needs to be, for Joe Biden to do what he has to do, his transition team has got to kick in. And because the Trump administration will not concede, the General Services Administrator has not signed off on the transition so that the Biden administration can begin its process of transitioning, and they need to release money for them to bring on their transition team and to begin to hire folk and do what they need to do to move forward. So they are stuck right now not having access to the hundreds of millions of dollars that are actually set aside for this very purpose until Trump actually tells the GSA administrator to sign off on the document and get things going. Here's the problem with this, right?
Yeah.
Trump early on really made a lot of the people that he appointed sign a loyalty test to him and not a loyalty test to the U.S. government. Mm-hmm. And right now, if you have a loyalty test to the U.S. government, you acknowledge that this is what's happened, that there has been this transfer of administrations, and we need to do this. But because people are being loyal to him and not being loyal to the United States, this is the dilemma that we find ourselves in at this moment. And this is very problematic.
Well, listen, I mean, all right. Let's, sometimes we have to break these things down like just human relationships for us to get a hold of them. This is a relationship that's gone horribly wrong. And one of the persons in the relationship has gone to the courts and basically got a restraining order and, what do they call it? I don't know if it's like a writ of divorce or whatever. You lawyers can kind of say what it is, but they've gotten the divorce papers. It's done. You're no longer together, and you got to vacate the house. Mm-hmm. Now, eventually, Sheriff Bilal is going to come and get you if you don't want to man up and just leave on your own, because there's somebody out there who will come and drag you out of that house. But right now, this is the period of time between when the paper is signed and you have to actually vacate, where the bluster of the person just will not stop. I mean, Trump is done. And the Republicans, Mitch McConnell, some people argue, well, they're like, they know he can't do anything, so why rile up his base and face the ire of them on the other side when they have to go back for elections again? Just let him just burn himself out. There's really nothing else that he can do except just accept this at a certain point. And, again, like I would say to a friend of mine, if it were them in the house, I'd be like, bruh, I would leave before the sheriff shows up. Because Rochelle Bilal don't play.
See, the problem is that Donald Trump thinks more like Jasmine Sullivan, the great singer here from Philadelphia, who would burn your car and poke out the tires and is going to go out the. I mean, the joke was, I was talking to some people about this yesterday. They were pretty much like, look, you're going to have to go in and fix some stuff in the White House because he's tearing stuff up in there right now.
Oh, God. He ripping up couches, breaking china.
And they're like, where's the Obama portrait that was supposed to be hung in the White House that he would not let get hung in the White House? Somebody needs to go find that picture and make sure it stays safe until he gets out of there.
It's going to be in the trunk of his car going to New York. Along with the mold for the Harriet Tubman $20 bill.
Oh, geez.
Remember that?
Yes, I remember that. It was supposed to be put out by now, and it has not been put out.
Yeah, but you got black men out there talking about, Trump is all right. Man, that's crazy. Hey, one quick thing. Yeah.
No, go ahead.
We got a couple of callers on, and but I want to acknowledge this real quick. Tawanda is from Lancaster, in case you all don't know. One of our listeners. She just got really mad because I said Lancaster, because in California it's Lancaster, but here it's Lancaster. Uh-huh. So she's from Lancaster, and one of our very, very much a part of our listening family. And so she's making the argument that, and I agree with her, that it wasn't just Philadelphia that put him over in Pennsylvania. There were all these other pockets, especially where black folk are, places like Lancaster, York, Columbia, Harrisburg, Steelton, Erie, Allegheny County with Pittsburgh, Allentown, Scranton. So we acknowledge that. But, you know, it is what it is. People are giving Philadelphia the credit, I think, because it came down the way the tension that came down, it built up to Philadelphia votes being counted. And so around the world and nationally, people, I mean, I've gotten text messages all week long, like I'm sure you have, and stuff on social media with friends and family thanking us for what, quote unquote, we did. But Tawanda, we take nothing from the rest of the folk in the Commonwealth that, you know, those votes were not just Philadelphia votes. They were people of goodwill across the Commonwealth. And so, yes, thank you very much.
There you go.
So speaking of local politics, Will Mega wanted to talk about local politics. Will, you're on the line.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
Morning.
It's Tuesday. 7 days after the election, 82% of people voted to get rid of stop and frisk. What the hell is the mayor waiting for? He said he was going to do it. The people voted for it. All he needs to do is sign. Just like all we want the Republicans to do is sign for the transition. All the mayor needs to do is say, yes, do it. I'm going to count every day. He said he was going to do it. The people now voted for it. What are we going to do?
Well, so Philadelphia, if you talk to the mayor and the police commissioner, we've had this ongoing, you know, debate with him, fight, some might even say, for 5 years since he was elected. It began when he said publicly at a forum that Power hosted, and he said it in many other places, that, you know, day one, stop and frisk comes to an end. You know, it was a controversial policy brought in by the Nutter administration, and, you know, it didn't work well. Ramsey initiated it, and so Kenny and every other Democratic candidate in that campaign said, Anthony Williams said it, everybody who was running for mayor said it. Right. Once Kenny was elected, he then said to us, and I'm paraphrasing, but you didn't read the small print of my campaign literature. That's essentially what he said. And of course, all hell broke loose in the big town hall we had, and it kind of all went to crap from there. This is like he was a mayor for a month. So we've been kind of, you know, he and I actually were like joking around on Saturday at the big rally, which was funny because I'm thinking like, okay, this must really be a good day because Kenny and I are just like laughing like we forgot all that stuff, right? Here's the problem, Will, that what they would tell you is they don't do stop and frisk.
That's right.
They say we only do legal, constitutional, pedestrian, and vehicle stops. Now, we all know that if that were the case, then the numbers, even with this consent decree, continue to show that while the numbers have come down, they continue to be extremely biased racially, and that black men and Latino men, brown-skinned Latino men in particular, tend to be stopped and detained and frisked by far more than anybody else. And we know that, you know what I mean, is that just chance? Is that just that we are like more prone to crime? And most of these stops don't yield anything. So, I mean, I hear you. I kind of thought that that bill, I liked it being on there, but I didn't think it was going to do much. I'm more in favor of number 3.
2019, 77,000 black people were stopped. Mm-hmm. And the percentage show that less than 1% of, no, I'm sorry, less than 10% of them have warrants, have drugs, have weapons. So of the 77,000 people that were stopped, the overwhelming majority of those black people, I'm talking about these are black-only people, the overwhelming majority of them have done nothing. No crime, nothing. It's like Philadelphia apartheid, and we just let it ride. Like we need to stop the mayor 77,000 times. You can't even do that in 365 days.
Yep.
All right.
Yes.
Yeah, have
yep.
a good one.
All right. Appreciate it, Will. I mean, listen, so here's the issue. And this is why I said that to me, the stronger initiative that passed was the one that Power was really pushing. I mean, we've been calling for an end to stop and frisk as well, but it was ballot measure 3, which is police control of oversight of the police department. And that's going to have to happen in phases. But ultimately, what I think you need is complete civilian control over policy, over directives, over the budget, over hiring, firing of the police commissioner, all of that in addition to investigations into officer misconduct and officer involved shootings. But that is it's a long trajectory, but it addresses, I think, the frustration I'm hearing in Will's voice, because when you make it a political issue, then it's always going to be a problem. But there is a way to bring those numbers down, but you can't do it if you are not in control.
That's right. I think that is, I go back. I mean, Power's been working on this issue at least 6 years, I believe, because the big town hall was actually my last year before I left to go to D.C. and then come back. So, and that was at least 4 years ago. So we've been working on it for a long time. We've heard the same arguments. We've partnered with the ACLU on some pieces around this. And I think we really won't be able to do significant work around transformation of the police department, like you said, getting the police oversight board in place. But then the other thing is we really do need to end stop and frisk. It is actually antithetical to being able to do good community policing if we continue to have these high level of stops, because it just builds the animus between the community and the police department, in particular Black and brown men. And so we've got to find a different way to be able to do quality policing in the city. And I don't know, the definition is insanity. You keep doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. And evidently it hasn't worked. So I don't know why we keep doing it. But anyway, that's for another day. We'll talk about that some other time.
Well, yeah. So glad to see our Chief Public Defender on as well, Kiera Bradford Gray. She's watching this morning, as well as Sheila and Tawanda, who are having a healthy back and forth. Antonia, glad to see you, as well as Melissa, Ed, Karen, and Leslie is there as well. Oh, what's up, Casa Hoop? Glad to see all of you all. Hit the share button, Mabel, and bring others into this conversation. I mean, so the big conversation now is, how do you get police oversight? Well, Saturday for me was tempered. My joy and enthusiasm was tempered the entire day by the fact that that same morning, at the same time that the announcement was made that Joe Biden had won Pennsylvania, the Wallace family was burying Walter Wallace. Mm-hmm. The funeral started at 11 o'clock that morning. And I chose not to go. I just think, sometimes you want to give families kind of some space. And so, but that was in my mind the entire day, which is that we're out here celebrating, and yet for this family, here's another family of a Black person who should not be dead. And that, that the system failed in multiple ways. And, it's not going to be an easy process, but, the work of organizing and activism can't just be when the cameras are rolling. And that's what, you and I talk about this all the time. You can't have a cameo in the movement. Right, where you just jump in, get your selfie, get the picture in the front of the line, and then you go on about your business. I mean, it takes a ton of work. I mean, shout out to Kiera. Looking at, her online reminds me, she has an entire police accountability unit within the Defenders Association that she created. I'm talking about some of the most, just fascinating kind of things that they bring out, some of the most dedicated people. Those are the folk that Power works with. And the kind of just countless meetings that you have to have, strategizing, pushing, prodding, because elected officials like to do the right thing when it's hot and the city is burning and the cameras are on. And if you let them, they will go right back into the same place where they had been, the default position, and do as little as they need until the next election. Am I right about it?
I mean, you're so right about it. I think, what people don't realize, and you and I understand this very clearly because of the work that we do, that for every hour that you see us out on the street, there have been thousands of hours of work that nobody ever sees.
It's like a sermon.
Right. Right. You don't see the grinding work, the meetings, the leadership assemblies, the way power is structured, there's a lot of training, a lot of education, it's a lot of working with people. We have staff that are all working on this, and shout out to the power staff for all the work that they do on a regular basis, all the power clergy, the power lay leaders. Like, a movement does not build itself to have any sustainability. You actually have to work at it, and it's a lot of work and a lot of negotiation of different things because we're a multiracial, a multi-faith movement. So, every day it's always constantly being at a place of negotiation and trying to work through various factors of who and how we show up in the world. So, I mean, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. And yeah, it's cool. People are like, oh yeah, we see you in the streets. Like, that's a fraction of the work. It doesn't even constitute 5% of the work that we do when we're in the street. It's not that big in terms of everything else that we're doing. So
yeah, I mean, the fact that we can spin all the stuff off the top of our head without looking at anything is not because we have talking points. It's because, unfortunately, we have spent so much time with these kind of facts, these figures, these numbers, and these painful stories. So one last thing before we go to break, and then when we come back, we'll take your calls. So Kier made a great point that stop and frisk has not equaled public safety. In fact, it erodes public safety because if you are disproportionately stopping and frisking the wrong people, and as Will pointed out, you get, very little, gets turned up in that, right? Now, I see Raphael is kind of going back with her saying, well, people want something to make them feel safe. So the idea may make you feel safe, but if it's not effective as a tool, and if you continually stop and frisk the wrong people, you continue to build on the animosity between the community and the police so that when things are about to jump off, why in the world would I call the police or help the police when you have stopped me? Like some of these stories you've heard, the barber who got stopped, I can't remember, some ungodly number, like 19 times, in his car. That if you continue to stop me, harass me, treat me like I'm a criminal when I'm just a working person, when I'm just a student, when something jumps off and you show up on the scene, it's like, hey, what happened here? Why in the heck would I help you? I mean, it does not make us safer. It makes us less safe. There are better ways of doing policing, and it's fact-based, evidence-based, community-driven. Right. And until we can get to that, lazy things like stop and frisk, which is just round them all up, throw them against the wall, and pat them down till you find something. Man, that didn't work in Hill Street Blues in the 1980s, and it don't work right now. We got to take a break.
This Veterans Day vignette is brought to you by Rivers Casino Philadelphia.
In recognition of Veterans Day, WURD Radio celebrates the Tuskegee Airmen, the first black aviators in the United States military. The Tuskegee Airmen trained at the Tuskegee Army Airfield in Alabama while facing racial segregation, discrimination, and the denial of fair pay in the armed forces and at home. When dispatched, they flew more than 15,000 units during World War II and earned more than 150 distinguished flying crosses, shattering doubts about their capabilities as black aviators. Their demonstration of excellence contributed to the integration of the United States Armed Forces. As we continue to fight for racial justice today, WURD Radio celebrates the Tuskegee Airmen and other black Americans who have served and continue to serve our country.
This Veterans Day vignette was brought to you by Rivers Casino Philadelphia. Go to betrivers.com to play now.
What's up, Philly? It's Solomon Jones. The school year is underway, but never before has that experience come in so many shapes and sizes. Is the education of your child being left to a smattering of clumsy, in-person, and virtual instruction? The COVID-19 crisis has created a market for untested virtual teaching models lacking true credibility. Maybe it's time to reconsider and check out Commonwealth Charter Academy. Here are the benefits to your family. 1. An online education provided at no cost to you, complete with laptop, headset, and help with internet access. 2. Partnership with the market leader in cyber education with a nearly 20-year track record of world-class learning. 3. Delivery of a safe, reliable, and comfortable education experience over the internet directly to the confines of your living room. Visit ccaeducate.me today and discover the gold standard of cyber education. That's ccaeducate.me.
Now, a traffic update on WURD Radio.
Good morning. This report's sponsored by Staples Stores. Looking at southbound 95, Ollie picks up a big Copman down through Bridge through the construction. Northbound side, no major problems there. Southbound also Allegheny through Girard, a bit slow. Westbound Vine Expressway, Parkway through the Schuylkill Expressway, a bit slow there. Also west of 95 to Broad Street, delays. Schuylkill westbound getting jammed now. University through south through the construction there. Eastbound side not bad yet. PA Turnpike, Bluebird 476 still in pretty good shape. 55 northbound, your heavy Deptford into 42. Staples has great deals on the hottest brands and must-have gifts like Apple AirPods, great for video conferences or online classes. Right now, Apple AirPod Pros are just $194. That's a $55 savings. In-store only, off ends 11/14, limit 2 while supplies last. Safe big at Staples. For more traffic information, log on to SIGAlert.com. Jim Bachman with your Philadelphia area traffic.
You're listening to WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD, independent black media.
Welcome back to the Power Hour. Mark Kelly Tyler and Dwayne David Royster. Hey, rep your support for Black Talk Media with a free WURD sweatshirt when you become a member now through November 16th. Just use the code SAVESPACE to receive your free sweatshirt with the purchase of your forward membership. Go to wordradio.com/join now or renew your renew your membership today. So check us out. Join up on WURD. Again, go to wordradio.com/join now. Use the code SAVESPACE. That's SAVESPACE with Sincerely Sarita, and you'll get a free sweatshirt this time around. And I do want to just give a shout out and really thank God for WURD Radio because in the midst of all this, the only real black voice that's black-owned, black-controlled in the city of Philadelphia bringing this information was WURD Radio. And appreciating all of our colleagues here for all the work that they do, Sarah and the team, for everything that they do to make sure that black folk have a voice here in the city of Philadelphia. So big shout out to them on that. Come on, join WURD Radio.
Let me anticipate the next call. And we recognize the Tribune as well. He was talking about vocal radio. I mean, just, radio, media, that kind of media, but not to discount our print brothers and sisters and siblings.
Yes.
I don't want Bob Vogel to just take you down, walking down Broad Street one day.
I think,
because no, he will. I heard you on the radio. You talking about only black voice. Let's see. How about a call from Mr. George?
Good morning, Reverend. How y'all feel this morning?
Good. How are you?
What's up?
Fine. Reverend Tyler, I'm glad you didn't go to that meeting because then they would have been labeling you, to the funeral, they'd have been labeling you like the rest of them deaf hustlers. They sit up there, and like you say, they take their, whatever that is, they selfie, put it on their little thing, and that's it. Forget about it. You got some of these elected officials, that's all they do, run around and take selfies all day and then post it up, this is what we do, we was there, crying and all that there. They'd be out there 1 hour and get maybe 15 or 20 hours worth of selfies. Let me say this here. I always say it, be careful what you ask for when it's with Kenny or the administration. Everything was on that ballot. You got to ask yourself a question. Every last one of them passed. First of all, they already council and the mayor has already chosen who's going to be on those boards. And that's those special group of Negroes that they're going to put on there. They're not going to do anything. They're going to just meet, have nice lunches, and talk about nothing. And then the last 5 minutes or something, they'll vote on whatever it is. That's why you got to be careful what you ask for and watch who always be appointed to the boards. If you look at the school board, that's a prime example. It's worse than SRC. Why? You got a bunch of people. Say it again.
No. I hear you. You get no disagreement with us.
You look at the school board, you got people on there are so outdated that they still use files, where people using computers, they're still using folders and this and that and the other, because they're still talking about what John Street did in his time. They never want to change. Most of them got 3 pensions. The youngest one on there is about 76, 77, which I don't play the age game, but at some point you have to change. In this city, it's always, you got to be careful what you ask for.
All right. Thank you, George. Appreciate it. We're running out of time, though, but I appreciate the call. And I like how George said, person's 78, 79, but I don't play the age game. Goodbye, George. My God. my God. Just talking about the person. Hey, your president-elect is 78 years old, by the way, in a couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm. But the oldest president ever inaugurated in this country.
So if he can be president, I'm sure somebody can be 78 and work at the school board. George, live long enough, you'll be 78 one day. Now, in addition to Bob Vogel being mad at us, we're going to have, like, you know, our seniors chasing us down. Thanks to you, George from Center City. He's crazy. But he's right. There are death hustlers out there.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
God. Do we dare take the last call?
Go for it.
All right, folks, don't be mad at us. He called here. Maurice, Southwest.
Brothers, you know you're picking up a larger audience that, you know, people wake up extra early just to talk to you, to be able to hear two strong black men talk in the morning. But y'all act like y'all got a 3-hour show. You got to be a little faster with the calls, man. A little faster. I'm just asking and begging. You do what you want, but I'm just begging because I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people listening to you, but they know they're not going to get through. George, what George said, he's 100% right. We got to focus on local politics here with these deaf hustlers and these people. That who's going to appoint these people that we ask for these certain offices? You know, already the police are not doing their job. So when you stop the thing that they don't want going on, then you're going to complain about there's too much crime. Why aren't the cops doing their job? We're stuck in the middle with this nonsense. Stop hiring cops from outside the city. That should be the number one thing right there and there. Stop having the guys from Paoli be down on Locust Street trying to conduct business. Have somebody from the neighborhood that at least know what the feel of the people. You keep saying that Miss Gray got things going on, but she must not got the best people because the nonsense is still going on. You know,
wait a minute.
Yeah, I don't get that one, Maurice. Wait.
Stop.
Yeah.
Explain it. Explain it. No, I just want you to stop to explain it.
That's not the role of the public.
You guys are not coming up with no answers. So why do I got to stop? I see what's going on in the street. Philadelphia is really called Philadelphia. I tried to tell people don't call it Philadelphia, but it's true.
All right, hold on, George. George, same thing. Maurice, same thing. Maurice, I'm just asking for clarification because you just leveled a serious charge against the public defender's office. Their role is to defend the people who can't afford an attorney of their own. And by all accounts, I mean, look, she got Michael White off for stabbing a white man in Rittenhouse Square. I'm like, good God.
Back that up.
Oh, wait.
If we didn't have a DA, a white one, of course, if we didn't have him in office, Michael White would be in jail right now.
Oh, Lord have mercy. You have lost it. You've lost it, Maurice. Good, Maurice. All right. Call back later. No. That's it, man. All right. See you later, Maurice. We'll talk to you later. Come on now. We can't have that. So we're going to credit. Now, I love Larry Krasner. That's my guy. But we're going to give Larry Krasner the credit for Michael White not being in jail today and not this black woman, Kier Bradford. Kier's been watching. Kier, please call in. What's the number again?
What's it? 2-1. Coyce has got it. Coyce, what's the number?
Please call in, Kier. Please. Because I can't take that. All right. The
Kiera's online. She's on Facebook. It says that it's that's a lie, and she said, "Wow."
So I will explain this to you. In fact, the DA's office vigorously tried to prosecute this young college student who defended himself when he was attacked by a person in Rittenhouse Square in an act of road rage. There's allegations that drugs and alcohol played a part in that as well. I ain't going into all that. I know that the family of Sean Schellinger is still upset, and rightfully so. Their son is dead. So I'm not trying to cast aspersions on him, but, it was a night that everyone regrets, including Michael White. Michael White maintained it was self-defense. Kier Bradford Gray who had not been in a courtroom. She's the chief public defender, but she's an administrator. Dwayne, she had not been in a courtroom for years.
I know.
And had never tried a murder case.
Mm-hmm.
And won. A young black man stabs and kills a white professional in Rittenhouse Square and runs from the scene, throws a knife away in panic, later turns himself in, and she got him out of jail. And you mean to call here and tell me that's on Larry Krasner, not Kier? Come on, man. I mean, seriously. That's like an insult above insults, and it's not even factual. But why do we have to continue to like discount and discredit, in particular what black women do? I just don't get it. Reese, I think that's a horrible take. You're right, it's your opinion, but I don't think that that opinion is sound at all. And I'm sorry. I just can't sit watching that case and fearing for that young man's life. He could have easily been like the Central Park Five.
Yep.
And he is somewhere now in college in a virtual classroom somewhere because of her, not Larry Krasner. And Larry is my guy, but Larry would tell you the same thing.
So can we do this? Can we get Kiara on tomorrow morning to talk about this? Because I think we really need to straighten that out.
All right.
And can we do that? So I know we're out of time now. The show's over because, like you always say, we only have an hour. So can we just do that and let's have that conversation?
All right. So all right. We're going to line Kiara up for the show tomorrow as our guest to talk about that case and to talk about, I think it's a good thing now to talk then about what the Police Oversight Commission should look like, since folks are saying, y'all talk about local politics enough. All right, let's talk local politics tomorrow and hopefully give persons who are listening from other areas in the country an idea of what you can do in your city and what you ought to do. So Kiera Bradford Gray, I know you're still listening. We got you lined up tomorrow, 6:20 a.m., assuming that you're not in court already defending somebody, getting them out of jail.
Can we do one thing, though? Can we also talk about what the Public Defender's Office does? Because I think a lot of people do not know the totality of what that office does. So we need to do that as well.
Hey, yeah, I love it.
Okay, cool. All right. Well, oh, yeah, that's right. I closed out. So, hey, thanks for listening to us on the Power Hour today. Mark,
come on, DMC.
I know, I'm messing up. Because Run was running away with everything. Listen, we'll be back tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. with the latest news happenings around Philadelphia and, of course, our opinions. And you've heard it now. We're going to work to get Chief Public Defender Kiera Bradford Gray here with us as well. We appreciate you being here with us. Go out, change the damn world, because if you don't, nobody else will. Peace.
With my face turned to the sun, weight on my shoulders, a bullet in my gun.